Okay, thank you for the invitation. This is a topic for parents, regardless of the stage where your children in. I'll start with some statistics. This is not this. Huh? Can you record? Yeah, they are recording. So this is one of the statistics I found that I thought you may like to start with. These are sex education in the school. What is the school is actually teaching our children about sex? I think this is 2006. It's a little bit old, but it probably did not change much. 55% said what to do if sexually assaulted. That's what they taught them. 50% of the kids in this school, they taught them about STDs, HIV, and then 45% or so, how to talk with a partner about birth control and STDs, how to handle pressure to have sex. This is what's being taught. So I want you to be aware. Now, based on a district in 1998, 51%, they taught them about abstinence as the preferred option / contraceptive, while 35% they talked about abstinence only, and 14% abstinence as the one option in broader sex education. So as you can see that sex education in school is definitely not enough, and a lot of times it's geared towards the society and the culture. And we need to be careful to what extent our kids are being taught, and then we may have to filter out some of this education. From the same group, this is the proportion of teens receiving any formal instruction about birth control. Percentage of teens receiving birth control information in 2002 versus 95, so it's even getting less back then. Now, when they spoke about abstinence, let me go back. So contraceptive pills, 70-80% of schools will talk about. But look about when they talk about abstinence, less than 20% of schools will be talking about it. Okay? Now let's start. What happens if the parents decided not to talk about sex? So the dangers of absence of sex education. One of the dangers that our children could grow accepting abuse because they were scared to talk about this taboo at home, and she grows to be married to a husband who may be sexually abusive or maybe other ways of abuse, and she would be accepting because she was scared because she came out of home that this is something she cannot talk about. A lot of kids, when they are not taught sexual education, they grow with wrong ideology about sex. Sex is forbidden or haram or aib. No, don't talk about it like this. Or this is, you are a good girl, how can you talk about it? You are a good boy, how can you talk about it? In our home, we never bring this topic. And as if your level of upbringing prevent you or does not allow you to talk about it with your kids. So they have the wrong idea that sex is forbidden, taboo, secret. And they either want to explore it, so they go into pornography, or they go to allowing sex in younger age, or they even go into marriage with a very bad ideology to the extent she is so scared of her husband, or he doesn't want to have any relation with his wife because he was raised with a concept that sex is a bad thing, or we cannot talk about it. What if we don't talk about it at home? The third thing is fear and anxiety and suppression. Those kids who are going to be the men and women of the future, if they approach that topic, she will be shaken. He will be very anxious. And he may go into sexual diseases because he cannot perform well, because he is very anxious, because he was brought up that this is something we don't talk about. Or عيب يا ولد بس يا بنت. Suppression. Why in the Middle Eastern countries 97% of men under the age of 17 have visited at least once to pornography? I mean, it's so high. Pornography, I'm not talking only about Egypt, but Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and all, because suppressed, all of this is suppressed completely. Okay? I'm not saying that the incidence here is not there, but it may not be that high. But the problem here is we are suppressing it so much, so it goes into different direction. If you do not talk about it with your children, they will talk about it with other people, and more than likely those other people will not teach them the right or clean things, 100%. So he speaks to Mr. Gonzalez, and Gonzalez will tell him things that you will not have told. Or he will tell him things that will completely pervert his mind, that he grows with a completely different idea than the one that should have been cleaner coming from mom or dad. So they will have to get the information. Where to get it, it's our problem. Okay. Now, if we do not give them answers, they will get answers, and the most common, easy, secret, nobody knows about it. I'm at home, and I'm looking at the computer finishing my homework, and mom and dad think I'm a good girl and a good boy, and I go into a porn site learning what you have not taught me. I submit to you, the best of our boys and girls are doing this. The best deacons, the best girls are doing this. Do not kid yourself thinking they never go. They go. How often, that's the different issue. But the problem is, some of them are going just to look for answers, not because they are lustful. And that's why I feel sometimes we allow them to fall into sin, because maybe I would have avoided them that stage or that direction if I was cleaner and upfront with them. But because I'm crooked and I don't want to bring it, they are going there, not because he is a very lustful boy, but because he wants some answers. And what happens when they go too much to pornography? Masturbation becomes a very intense habit among boys and occasionally among girls, more common, of course, among boys. And the reason is pornography is exciting him, stimulating her, exciting him, making him sort of go into clouds of ideas. So he goes and performs this pleasurable habit. She goes and does the same thing. Of course, one of the very bad consequences of fearing sex is to have same-sex relation, which is homosexuality. Because he wants to talk about a girl, mom shuts him off, so he sort of deviates to boys. Because it seems when I talk about boys, nobody says anything. And the same for girls. Nowadays, when I talk to my girls, to the girls that I'm taking care of in the church, I tell them you are not allowed to be touched even by a girl, not just by a boy. Very important. She cannot be touched by anyone. A cousin, a girl, a boy, no. The reason is because we are not teaching them enough. So unfortunately, when a girl becomes so close to another girl, they may fall into homosexuality without them trying to do it. طبعا, one of the one of the disasters happening in the Coptic church today, disasters, that many marriages are falling because there is no good sex education between the man and the woman because they never got it when they were young. Let alone, there is nothing called, there's nothing, a lot of churches are doing it, but there isn't a good premarital sex education either. So the first time they do this, either with themselves, they talk to each other, or he goes and asks his friends, or she goes and asks her friends, and all of a sudden, who knows if are they going to be in the right direction, or their marriage will be a failure. And I submit to you, this is very common. A good portion of failed marriages today is because of problems in sex, probably related to upbringing, more than problems now. Okay, what are the principles? If you decide to teach your children, what are the prerequisites that you must have? One, don't ever touch this topic with disrespect. It's better not to. If you're going to be disrespectful to the sex idea or sexual organs, don't even come close. I love what St. Augustine said, and I always bring it to the girls and to the dads and moms. God was not embarrassed to create sexual organs. How can we be embarrassed to talk about it? I hope you know that for sure, yeah. Yani Rabbina did not create the hand and brain and heart, and did not create the ovaries and the testes and the vagina and the penis. He created all of this. So they are as respectful as when you talk about the head and the arm and the heart and the feelings. So very important principle as a mom and a dad, approach the topic with very respect, as if you're talking about college, as if you're talking about godly principles. That much. You leave whatever in your hand, you concentrate, you respect the question, and you answer in very much respect. No dismissiveness. You do not just, no, respect. Second principle, don't complicate things. I'm talking about a child who is 4 years old, a girl who is touching her private area too much, and I'm talking about a 17-year-old girl who is really, for example, asking questions that you need as a mom. Maybe 17 is too old, 14, and you need as a mom, you need to answer. Both at the same. Don't complicate things. Don't try to be too tense to the extent you make your answer difficult than the question. Do not avoid any question. Do not avoid any question. You may modify the answer based on the age, but you do not dismiss any question. You may say, I'll answer you about this tomorrow, or let me get somebody else to answer this question because I don't know quite well how to say it. Fine. And you have to get somebody else. But do not just say, إلا الحتة دي, not this part, not this department. We don't get there. If you do not know information, get it. Do not volunteer mediocre information. Do not volunteer information that are inaccurate. You are becoming like Mr. Gonzalez again, who gave wrong information. Bring correct sources. Go and read, go and get educated if you don't know. I want to submit to all of you, and I don't know anyone here, mostly. Not because you have reached that age that all your information, with all respect, is right. With all respect. Not because you reached that age that what you know is actually what you're supposed to teach. With all respect. There is a lot of things we find ourselves when we read more, we ask more, that I was taught wrong. My Sunday school was absolutely wrong. Not because he told me in 1978 or 1988, whatever he said is supposed to apply today and supposed to be right today. Who said that he was right? Examine your sources. Make sure you say the right thing. If you are a young mom and a dad, and you want to graduate your kids, will be great if you gradually increase their knowledge about sex. Meaning, if your kids are 4 and 5, you start talking about the butterfly when it reaches the rose and how it leaves a little something from her. And when it leaves that thing in the rose, she picks something else and goes somewhere. And then when they get stuck together, they bring a baby. And you tell her, that's exactly what happened between mom and dad. And you leave it like that. There will be a time growing up with your boy, and at the age of 12, and you talk to him, make sure, Habibi, you don't touch your private organ too much. Because when you do that, you excite yourself, and your private organs may become harder. And when they become harder, you will feel your feelings are too tight, and it will hurt you. Try not to avoid, ya Habibi, touching yourself too much. I'm very clean, I'm very to the point, and I'm not disrespectful. You talk to your girl about periods. La Habibti, I also get the period like you. But God gave us this, not to curse us, not to make us look like we are standing and while all the girls are going to communion. We have the period because one day you will not get the period because you will have a baby within your uterus, and that baby may become Marimina again. And you start giving her the honor of becoming a lady, and the period is never a shame or a curse or a downplay of her personality. I'm trying to give you how clean you can talk about many things and in gradual phases. If you are not the right person to say the things because either you don't know or you cannot speak, which in my opinion is wrong, mom and dad should try to say things, not completely be leaving it to somebody else, but you can use other people. You can use other persons. Okay, very important. If they argue or they tell you are wrong, or I heard this, or I saw a movie, a guy and a man or a woman having sex together, don't lose it. Be calm. Hold your feelings. Do not be angry. Don't say, I'm not talking to you about this anymore. Don't curse him and curse the media. And it's not going to help no one. Be well kept. Be well kept. Any question can come, but remember, this question will go to somebody else if you do not answer. So it's better you try. You may come to a point that, oh, Habibi, boss, I really don't know more about this more than that. Let me read and I'll get back to you. Or let me ask and I'll come back to you. But don't just dismiss the point. Very important. Do not exaggerate and do not minimize. Do not exaggerate. Like everything, your boy you talk to him about masturbation. And he starts talking. You cannot tell him, oh, you will be blind. This is, by the way, a very common, somehow, I'm not sure where it came from, very common misinformation among Egyptians. I have no idea where it came from. I looked for it in medical books, I couldn't find it. But it's very common. Sunday school servants in the past used to tell يا ابني هتتعمي وهتتشل and things like this. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is right about this. You cannot exaggerate because he also knows the science about it. But you cannot also tell him there's nothing wrong with it. We can talk about this. Of course, that's a different topic. But you can tell him where it's going to be too... it will hurt you. And when we cannot say also there is nothing wrong with it. You have to be moderate. Same with anything in sexual education. I don't have another example. Masturbation happened to be a very perfect one. But don't, some parent will tell him, God will be so upset from you. What about lying? And who Rabbina has a sexual department he cares so much about, and he doesn't care about gossiping department? Who said that? Where did you bring that from? God is God. God is so pure. And purity is the purity of mind, heart, soul, everything. So when you talk about sexual sins, you cannot just exaggerate to the extent he is not going to have anywhere close to heavens. He will be far away. And the kid, the poor kid, he can't stop. And all of a sudden he falls under complete despair because you made it so difficult on the poor kid. And with all respect, you may have had the same problem when you are in his age. But you cannot also minimize and say, this is not a sin. God, no, you can talk about it, Habibi. This is not like any other sin. You saw the computer, you saw the movie. I know you did. I understand. Please make sure we don't do this anymore. I'll go with you to Abuna. We'll sit together. Why don't you just tell him, Abuna will talk to you and will give you the absolution. The absolution will give you power so not to go back in it again. Excellent. I did not exaggerate and I did not minimize. Because I'm sinful like him. But my sins are different than him. Who made me to be a righteous person over him? Okay? It's very important when we talk that we ourselves, in spite of, regardless of our backgrounds, and I submit to you, we came from north and south of Egypt, so the education could be so variable. Some of us may have been taught wrongly that there are areas in the body that not sanctified, or organs in the body that not clean in the eyes of God, which is absolutely wrong. God created the human body and he said that's very pretty, very good. He said very good. He did not say it about the dolphins and the oceans and the clouds and angels, but he spoke about you, boy, and you, girl. You're very good. You very good, all of you, including your sex organs. So when you speak to your kid, do not be under the impression that there are dirty areas. There is nothing dirty in the eyes of God. We make things dirty. When do you start? See, you start when early childhood, 5, 4, 6 maximum. That's when I start talking about the butterfly and this and the fish and the egg that came from the fish and all of these kind of things. Clean, pure, know that mom is willing to talk. Because all of a sudden, he's 16, he's taller than me. Come, we need to talk about sex. I mean, now? I mean, you have never talked to me since the last 12 years. Now you're talking? I'm not saying don't start late. It will be difficult, more difficult, but that doesn't mean you should not do it. I think you should try. It will be a lot harder than a younger parent who's starting early. So when to start? As early as you can. But it's more important that you revisit this issue with every new phase. She's got her period. That's another time to talk about. He has hair under his arm. That's another time to talk about it. You notice that he's spending more time in the bathroom and you think he's masturbating. That's another time to talk about it. You notice from the computer history or whatever, or talking to somebody, he is watching porn. That's another time to talk about it. In other words, it's not once and for all, but it's every phase that the kid will grow into that I'm willing to modify my talks with him or with her. One of the best times to do this when you and him alone in a quiet family time. You're going in a long car ride. You're going maybe shopping and you stop to eat something. I mean, don't make it such a an ordeal, a confrontation. Come, tell me, what are you? Who wants to be confronted? Sit here, I want to talk to you. No. But you are taking her to a ballet class or, I don't know, basketball class. And on the way back, you did so well. You looked so pretty. You are growing to be a lady. Look, I saw your body now. You are becoming like me. It looks like you and I will be wearing with each other. By the way, does this bother you that you sometimes have the period? And you can start talking. And the same with the boy. In other words, always be ready, especially in quieter times when, if possible, mom and her or dad and him. But if there is one single parent, of course, sometimes we have to do what we have to do. And that's when the church help a lot in a single parent. When you are, say, for example, the mom and you have two boys, it's a bit hard on you to speak to them. Not it's impossible. I have seen women talking much better than men with their boys. I have seen it, and they work very well. So there is no rules here. However, that's when servants and the church can help also the people who need help. Okay. When do you start? When a question is asked. That's a very important timing. Mom, what are they doing in the TV? I think that's my next point, actually. What is that they are doing in the TV? بس يا ولد روح put off the TV وbring news, and the kid, he is more interested. He wasn't that interested. He asked a question that was not important at all. I made it a battle. Now I want to know. I must know. I will know. But you know what? You could answer and be pure about it. Habibi, they are having sex. And sex means mom and dad, or this man and this woman, I'm not sure who are they are getting close physically with the body, and that gives them pleasure. But sometimes, actually, this is the reason for mom becomes, or the woman becomes pregnant and have a baby. By the way, most of the kids by that time, they know. But if they asked, fine. Maybe he didn't ask, but you want to bring something. Bring it when you are watching a movie. You're both watching a movie and you saw something that it's not intended for you to have seen. But خلاص, شفناه. We have seen it. You can't just delete. I have seen this site. So talk about it. It's a good timing. A good timing also to talk about it when there is a problem happened. He heard about a girl became pregnant in school. And she comes and talks, and she's so hard. She feels so bad. Or a girl told her she had an abortion, and she's only 14. She didn't even know that they should be having sex at that time. I'm not sure, but I doubt, and there are girls who would not know, but just in case. This is a good time to talk about it. To talk about premarital sex. To talk about the purity of the body. To talk about how to preserve yourself for the right time and the right person and the right place. Okay? How do you offer sex education? So the first way is through parental dialogue, discussion, back and forth. What do you think? I think. I heard, I read. No, I disagree. No, I think this way. You know what? I'm not sure about this. Let me ask about it. Excellent. School, طبعا, don't depend on them too much. But more than do not depend on them, try to know what's being taught. You can go to the school and ask for the sex education curriculum. You could meet the school teacher and ask her what exactly you discuss. I want to know, so I can follow up with my kids. Some of the things they discuss are very good. They discuss diseases, they discuss contraceptive methods, كلام زي كده. But what they usually do not discuss is abstinence. That's not important to them. It's more important to talk about contraception because they don't have a problem at school. But they may not talk much about abstinence. So this is where you fill the gap. And this is where you bring the church and God and the purity of the body and the altar of the body and all the beautiful things that we know to complement what the teacher did not say. Of course, we can use media, we can use movies, we can use books. We can use the church, debates, questions, audiovisuals, and of course the Father of Confession. He's an excellent venue of bridging between you and your child about sex things. I mean, you can say at the end, Habibi, why don't you ask Abuna about this? I'm not quite sure. And that's a good segue for you to make sure that he also confesses. By the way, I want to say something here. While confession is very important in all ages, it's so important in teenage. Please remember this. Confession is important for all ages, but more so if you have your child as a father of confession during the teen age, trust me, he will be fine. Why? Because there are things I am sure you are not doing right. But that's when he may ask Abuna. Abuna, I'm doing so much masturbation now. Abuna, I touched myself and I'm not sure if I'm a virgin anymore. If she is not able to tell you this, she has to tell somebody we trust. And that's why it's important for you as a mom and dad to trust that your son and daughter have a father of confession, especially, I'm not saying it's not important in other ages, blacks, but especially more frequently during teenage years. Okay, what can go wrong? Wrong ways. Extremes. So liberal or so uptight about it. Both are wrong. I cannot be too liberal or too tight to the extent I'm not allowing any type of discussion about it. Extremes. Not right, ya jama'a, that you keep asking for the details of sin. She told you he kissed her. Stop right there. Talk about the purity of the body. Ya habibti, your body is so important. It's the altar of Christ. Why did you allow him to reach? Don't start asking, did he touch you here? Did you play this? Did you... Calm down. It's already stressful on her to come and tell you, Mom, he kissed me. Be easy on her. Not now. The details of sin sometimes hurt both the parent and the child. He's not talking to you anymore. And new information that's not going to make you look at her with the same look that you used to look at your daughter. And it's not good. Because God is going to forgive her at the end, regardless. But you, as a parent, you're always seeing the kiss. If you can't handle it, be careful, Yan. Details of sin, even Abuna himself does not ask. Abuna supposedly does not need to know the details of sin except in very, very rare occasions. There is something in the liturgy very important with that. نقول له ايه الفكر الملبث الشر ايه الشر الملبث الموت تذكار الشر الملبث الموت يعني the memory of sin entailing death. يقولوا ايه ده؟ memory of sin meaning when I did a sin and I start recounting the details, so I fall in the sin again. Like a person who fell in lust. And he starts recounting the steps and the movie and the girl and what she is wearing and where she is sitting, and he falls in it again. For example, I fought with Jenny, and I'm upset about it. But rather than I repent, I start saying, she said, and I said, she said, and I get angry at her again while she's not even in front of me. That's called remembrance of sin entailing death. So we don't have to do this. Incrimination. Sometimes we incriminate things that they are not crime. We exaggerate again. But that makes the person in front of me doesn't want to talk to me. I'm making him a criminal, not a teenager that made a mistake, but he is a criminal. He's an outcast. He is not to talk to, not to be trusted, not ever to be accepted by God. He will never go to communion. He will never be a deacon. She will never. And all of a sudden, I feel like I'm a criminal. And thanks to mom and dad, terrorizing him from the opposite gender. Watch out. Don't let the boy come near you. All the boys are wolves. They are at best. And you made them sound like animals. Because you had a bad experience. Watch out. Because I'm projecting on my kid. Because I was raped or somebody did a bad mistake with me. So I'm looking at my guy. I want to protect her. So I tell her, don't. They are this. Or all the girls want to deceive you. All the girls بيضحكوا عليك. All the girls want to take you for a ride. And all of a sudden, I'm making a subjective impression that my child is scared. You know that there are women in their marriage, they are so scared in their sex relation with their husbands that their marital life fails because of terrorization like this. She was so scared of men all her life, and all of a sudden she is naked in front of a naked man in one room. How that can happen? Because we scared them so much in their young ages, and all of a sudden now she has a relation that she doesn't know what to do with. One of the worst things we do is to convey wrong information. Please watch what you say. If you don't know, go and read. Get informed before you say something that you need to correct later on. Do not keep bringing the mistake every time you see him. Do you think I'm going to forget that he kissed you every time? You cannot go out. Why? Because I know you will be kissed again. I mean, that's so cheap. That's so cheap of me. كل شوية تخبط على الحمام. You're masturbating, right? I mean, of course, I'm exaggerating now. But I'm saying, every time he's alone, you assume that he's doing something wrong. Every time he sits in the computer, you open the door and you want to look. Knock off first. If he wants to cover it, let him cover it. But respect him. And you can have your own policeman kind of eye from far, but do not be overjudging like this. Nobody will repent with overjudging. No one of us. If Abuna طول النهار you judge you are bad. Do you think you are going to repent? And you are his parent? Projection. I said it, but it's very important. Sometimes we project our own sexual failures in our own kids. Our own wrong ideas, we project them on our girls and boys. Because I was taught or I was hurt in a way or another, I am expecting that my child is fooling around. Why? Because, with all respect to all of you, I don't know any one of you. Because I was fooling around when I was young, so I expect that she's fooling around. You know what? I mean, that's so cheap again. Not because I was bad. I mean, I met a parent yesterday. It has nothing to do with the topic. But he told me, listen, I was very قليل الأدب وأنا صغير. قالها لي كده بالعربي. I was very bad when I was young. And he is imagining that his daughter cannot meet any man. Why? He thinks of all the girls he fooled with. So he doesn't want any man to do what he did to the other girls with his daughter. And he is overprotective. He's about to suffocate her. Projection. Not because I was bad, my kid has to suffer. You know? It's very important that we do not project our failures, our wrong ideas, our wrong information to our children, on our children. I'm almost done. Sanctification of the body. And this has to be part of the discussion. Any sex education discussion, you need to bring the body is the sanctity of the body. The body is an altar exactly like this altar. لا بلاش الالتر ده احسن يقولوا كل يوم بيغيروا. الالتر the real altar, the other altar. إنه your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit dwells in. How shall I take the organs of Christ and make them organs of a harlot? Never. And you talk to him that her body is where God will dwell. And these organs are the organs of Christ. Every single organ. And all the organs were sanctified by the maroon oil. They were consecrated like an altar. All of this discussion, please bring him so many times in every phase. We do not keep psychology only. We are here in a church, and our objective at the end to make those men and women, young boys and girls, to become men of Christ, women of Christ, not just psychologically good. So there will be many things, of course. All of this, yani, you are giving him a protocol, a spiritual program. And that's, by the way, what resolves most of the sexual issues. Most of us who have gone through periods of difficulties during their teenage life, in my opinion at least, what protects us is these things more than mom and dad talking. Because none of us, I think, I mean, I'm older than you, but that wasn't common, although my dad talked to me, but that wasn't a common thing in Egypt time, at least to my knowledge, up till now. But of course we are different. So what protects us is these things. And we cannot do what I said up till now, and we don't do this one, because this one is the most important thing, because this is what will transfer him from a psychologically sound person in a psychologically, spiritually sound person. And that's what's more important. That will make him a good father and a good mom in the future. Of course, one of the important things for our kids to be sexually sound is to keep them busy. 90%, if not more, of sexual problems among kids is laziness. The reason is laziness, is emptiness, is more time in their hand than they need to do with. Keep them busy. Get them in sports and music and activities and scouting and climbing, whatever. Just don't make them sit still at all. No time for TV, no time for computer, no time for anything except running back and forth. طبعا you guys will lose weight because of running after them, which is good. But in the same time, you will find your kids are growing good. The kids are too busy. They are also too busy to fall in sexual problems. And you will be happy. They will be happy also in the future. Remember, I'm not saying this one without the rest. But if you do the rest and you don't do this slide, you are not completing the job. Your job as a parent is to produce spiritually and psychologically sound girls and boys. Of course, some of the practical things, you saw that there is a girl that she's attached to that making her see porn sites. And she told you, she's the one who gave me all the porn sites. Then you start talking to her that this is not the right friend. And you start talking to her servant, and you do the whole 9 yards. Because this wrong friend, I don't want to say bad, but this wrong friend is not suitable for your kid. So if he is teaching him wrong things and you found out that he's the one who is making him deviate too much, you cannot be battling so many battles. So you start talking about bad friends. Of course, you try as much as you can. I know it is difficult. If there are programs or movies or scenes or whatever, try to, if you can, try to avoid them. Take them to movies as much as possible, but select the movies. Talk to each other as parents. What are the good movies you guys have seen and take them so they are not prevented, but they are not at least get the idea that there is another movie and they go to, and all of a sudden he has a confused mind. So try to help them escape from the bad scenes, bad friends, and finally, and I told you this, avoid as much as possible, especially in vacations and you both are working, that they are sitting home idle. The worst thing to do to your son or daughter, to leave them home alone and you both at work. Find something. I don't know what you want to find. Put them on a summer camp. Make them go to the library and do this. Make them do work, even in McDonald's for that matter. It doesn't matter. As long as they don't sit alone doing nothing. That's the worst thing. Very important, if you find your child feeling that especially she, it's more common among the girls, or he, have low self-esteem. Nobody likes me. I don't want to go out because I am fat and people make fun of me. Mom, forget it. My hair will never get better. Everybody makes fun of my hair. Of course, it can happen with boys. All of them play basketball. I'm the only one who's so small and so thin and don't have muscles, and everybody makes fun. Watch out for this language. If you find it, treat it. What do I mean by treat it? Encourage something you see good in your kid, even though he has definitely the defects that he mentioned. She is fat. Her hair is bad. He is so short. Some of this cannot be changed. Of course, there are things can be changed. She can straighten her hair, she can lose weight, whatever. But say he has things that you cannot change. Work on the things that are good in him. Habibi, but look at how good you are in computers. You fix this and this and this. I could take you and you could work in a place and you could be the best in computer programming. You know what? The way you play music, I have never heard in any girl like in your age. Build up the aspect that she thinks she does not have, which is, I'm just a loser, I'm just a failure, I'm just nothing, I'm just a zero, Because, by the way, one of the worst enemies to you parents is your child feeling nothing. Your child feeling low. Because anything will be offered to him, will take. A hug, a kiss, a sex, a relation, whatever. Why? Any satisfaction. So do not keep building good things and leave something like a rat like this, a low self-esteem, to eat away your child. Of course, continual repentance. حبيبي ما حصلش حاجة. God will not be so bad, so upset from you. He will forgive you. You forgot that he forgave Moses the black. He forgot the woman that was taken, caught in the act. You forgot that he accepted this and this. You know what? I fall like you, Habibi, and I repent and I confess and we'll be fine. Come with me, we'll go together and we'll have communion, we'll go to confession. Build him up in repentance. Don't ever leave him to feel down that there is no success for me in God's life. Always give hope. Last slide. What are the blessings? Number one, the purity of mind. We will produce kids, men and women, who have pure mind. You can't imagine how precious that is. That he thinks of a girl not as a sexual being, but as a mind, as a body, as a sort of, as a mind, as a personality. So when he deals with her, when he comes to choose a future wife, he's not choosing based on body. He's choosing based on personality and mind. You know why? Because he overcame all these problems because you taught him well. When she chooses, she doesn't choose because he's muscular and he's tall and he's handsome and he looks like Tom Cruise. No, she's choosing, is he a godly man? Is he a personality? Is he really a kind person? That are the things that she looked for them. Why? Because she was able to bypass the step. Of course, the kids who are living purity, they are so peaceful. You know, in Arabic, adolescence means murahqa. Murahqa يعني واحد مرهق. يعني in English, adolescence in Arabic means, the word means they are anxious. They are over anxious. A zit will come here. Oh my God, she will see me with a zit tomorrow. No, I'm not going. Anxious. And she goes, do you think I laughed nicely or he made fun of me when... They are worried. Poor kids. They are worried about so many things that you think, no. Teach them well, they will have peace. And if they have peace, they will produce and they will come great and they will give us ideas and they will be partners of us, not just something. Strong personality, purity of the sexual organs or sexual being gives a strong person, because her decisions are not minded with her hormones or his hormones. You know, there are boys, he is only going wherever his hormones taking him. لا بنت حلوة هناك. She doesn't like him, he goes here and he sits and upset. Another person is not the hormones that go direct. He has hormones, he's a normal boy. But he is laughing with this and joking with this and going to sport with this. And not because the girl didn't give him attention, he goes somewhere. Strong personality. Holy relations, that's what I was talking about. We don't want boys and girls who are looking for sex only in their marriage, because 100% they will fail. Because as you all know, sex is not the primary thing in marriage anymore. After some years, it's very important, but it's not the most important. There is a lot of things else around this part that's as important, if not more. And that's why people who have sex and don't have anything, they don't have sex. You follow me? The people who do not have anything in their marriage except sex, usually they don't have sex. The reason is there is no life. So if I made them have holy relations, can you imagine you build a home for your daughter that she will thank you all her life because she is so happy with her husband, that she chose based on godly ways, not on bodily things? Stable families, we mentioned it. Better guidance. The persons who are have good sex education or well established in that part, they can guide others. They can help others. Better society. I want to end with this. Who have girls? Wow, okay. So please do this for your girls. Look it up. There is something called Purity Ring. I started for my girls in Queens. It's about $15. You can order it through the internet. Once they get 12, buy it for her. And there is a pledge. She pledges her purity to Christ. And I want to show you something very interesting. All these famous people, by the way, 223 comments, got the purity pledge. Some of them are boys. It's more common among girls, though. Okay? What's nice about it, though, that some of the actresses, I'm not talking Christian now. This even is just avoidance of premarital sex, even among the secular Americans. This is a big move nowadays. And you buy it for your daughter, and she pledges her purity, of course we say Christ, but to her father in that particular website, that I will not be touched by a man until I leave your house. Very interesting. When we did that to our girls, they felt that there is a physical thing they are holding on, and it's so valuable that I'm not letting my body to be used by anyone. And we brought the idea of purity of the Bible that St. Paul spoke of, that the girls felt she is not something to be used, but rather a being that Christ have created. Thank you very much. These are the questions. Um, my daughter, 6.5 years. Can a girl marry another girl? I think she's asking maybe. So I think what you mean is my daughter is 6.5 and is asking, can a girl marry a girl? Yes? Yeah. Yes. Right. Homosexuality, the question, I'll repeat the question again for the recording. The idea of, there is a lot of our children are asking, especially in the Northeast, which is very common now, they are asking about gay marriage. What's wrong with it? A boy with a boy or a girl with a girl. And of course, he also put, please address gay marriage. So the same question. So this is a big topic. I think we can cover it in a different time, but in short, the best way to answer this is to really answer it through 3 ways: religious or Bible, psychological, and scientific. And this is a topic, but not now. But I'll try to brief you about this. First, prove to them from the Bible that homosexuality is a sin. Look at Ephesians 1, Romans 1, at least. You can also look at Deuteronomy, but these 2. Very clear. Romans 1, homosexuals are not allowed. And in Ephesians 2, it's really talking about no sodomites will enter the kingdom of God. And if you go to Revelation, you will find it also. I don't remember the chapter, but in Revelation also. So number 1, prove to them biblically that this is the Bible. No questions. No questions. Number 2, psychologically, you need a man and a woman for a family, for children to grow correct. Psychological. No one can argue this, by the way. Why there are 2 men or 2 women? The problem is when there are defective marriages and the male figure is useless or very bad, it's better to have a woman figure because she is kinder. But ideally, when God created or formed this, or even psychologically, a man and a woman both bring to the table, to the kids, to the family, things that normally cannot 2 women or 2 men bring. No argue about that, by the way. The third point is scientific. There are several scientific articles, and I can supply that in a different time, that looked at 2 groups of people, and they found there is nothing genetic about homosexuality, in spite of all what you hear in the news. This is not an inherent thing in the person born with. Less than 10% maybe some heritage. Somebody born with no testes, for example, and he had ovaries, although he looked like a boy. That's fine. He is a woman. That's fine. He has a different chromosomal. We're not talking about. But the majority, they do not have a genetic makeup to make them a homosexual man or woman. I think those 3, in my opinion, worked so well with all the kids I have dealt with. You also asked another question, when to educate girls about period before they get the period. Don't ever let your girl get her period while she is not ready. It's not fair. It's not fair she wakes up with bleeding. It's not fair. You must, as a mom, talk to her. 7, 8 years old. Habibti, you are growing. You are going to be like me. I see your body becoming shaped like a lady. You are going to be so pretty. By the way, next year, you may have something happens to me as well. Every month, I get some blood. And when I get the blood, I feel tired. But that doesn't make you dirty or anything. That just because the womb is changing its wall every month to make always a new wall. So it sloughs the wall as if we are removing the paint and putting new paint. Every month we do this until one day God will tell you, I want to give you rest because your womb will carry a baby. Very simple, very easy, but do not wait until she gets it. I mean, not that it cannot happen, but why would you let your girl be shocked like that? What if my kid don't like to talk about sex? He tried to walk away or close the subject. Me to talk about some. Okay, so that's a very good question. And I'm not going to judge the person who asked, because one of the reasons for this, that there was no attempts when he was young talking about it. But you know what? You are one of the majority that could not talk about it at one time. My opinion, do not let him be running away. It's better in a car. Better he is with you and you have good time together. Do not, be smart about it. Don't, come in the car, we need to talk about sex. No, of course, be smart. You went to a movie, you took him to a movie, you watched the movie, there was some scene in the movie, you went in the car, you got some popcorn, and you're going home, and then you lost your way for a half hour. You don't know where is your house. And during this time, you tell him, what did you think about this, and why is that? And let him be upset about it, but keep pushing. Listen, we are both men, habibi. And I need to talk to you about things, but because I know you would probably know. Tell me what you know, because you probably know everything, but at least I want to correct should you have wrong information. And he will yield, especially if you are respectful and you are not angry about it. And it may not happen the first time. No problem if it happens after 6, 7 times, you're still winning, because he knows that dad is opening the topic. Should I fall? He just tried yesterday. I'll talk to him. What should I do if I found out that my son has been harassed by a girl through texting? She likes him and pressuring him to answer her. Age 12. I think the best way is to talk to your son and explain to him what exactly you think this girl wants. And be very frank. What does she want from you? What her messages mean? Did she ever send you pictures? Because I found, by the way, some girls send pictures of bras and حاجات زي كده. So, I'm serious. This is happening. So talk to him. What does she want, Habibi? You are 12. What are you thinking? And then bring God in the picture. Always bring God in the picture. As long as there is always opposite gender and possible that he feels sinful, bring God in the picture. Bring the body. Bring the sanctity. And then tell him, listen, you are going to waste time. You have so many friends, boys and girls. Be friend to everybody. But if you become friend to only one, you're going to lose, because she's going to be jealous if you spoke to another girl. And you may be jealous because she spoke to Mina. And why would you put yourself in that? Enjoy your life, enjoy your time. This is the best years you have, and you are not gaining anything from this. Sometimes it's tempting to keep your child's innocence for as long as possible because you are worried they will become preoccupied with the topic once they know about it. How do you know that they are ready for the details of sex? Okay, I said before, be smart about each phase details. You cannot talk about sexual intercourse to a 6-year-old boy. Although I have seen some of those kids, apparently, you have to ask your school. There are things discussed in school, you probably will blush if you hear it. Please ask what's the curriculum being discussed in school. I saw a picture for I don't remember, was it 5th grade or 4th grade, a picture of a sexual intercourse but diagram, penis ومش عارف ايه was caricature يعني مش عارف اشرح لكم diagram, not a picture, not a photo يعني. And they are talking to them about how intercourse happened. So I'm trying to tell you, schools, your kids may know already much more details more than you think. But in the same time, respect each phase. But do not underestimate what they know. I think, and that's my experience with many kids, that usually I'm surprised that they know more than I expected. It did not happen yet. Then a guy said, what? I mean, it's very rare, and I don't think if you are respectful and you prayed about it and you bring God in the picture, what are you afraid of? What are you are not dirtying the topic. On the contrary, you are elevating the topic. Because he may be actually being dirted, the topic may be dirted because of what he listens to. Look at Simpsons. Simpsons is the worst. We are in air, right? Good. So Simpsons is the worst caricature any child could listen to. It's the worst. There isn't, this is the lowest. And kids are watching. If you haven't, go and see it yourself. Homosexuality, pitifying. I mean, it's really very bad. So watch out because the kids are also already seeing caricature. I mean, do you ever recommend talking to your child out of the sex? Do you ever recommend taking your child out of the sex ed class in school, or will this make him? No, I wouldn't recommend that. But I would recommend that you ask your teacher, his teacher or her teacher, can I understand the curriculum, please? Because I would like to add to what you said, because we would like him and my husband to talk about these things at home. And they will like it. Usually teachers are very good about that. But the problem is their curriculum sometimes is a little bit more revealing. But you know what? If you take them out, just think about it. And then she goes back to the next class and tell her, guess what? We spoke about sex last hour. And she will feel so bad and she wants to know. And it will be like as if you are giving a very curious topic, more curiosity than it's supposed to be. I think be simple about it. Know what's being taught. Hopefully, you can correct if you think there are things to be corrected. But I feel like there is more harm if you take them. Is fast-forwarding scenes on TV right or wrong? I know. I mean, we all did it. I did it. Personally, I feel that we made them look more than if it would have passed. But the problem is, I read one time that in the 70s, if you sat 2 hours in front of the TV, you wouldn't have heard the word sex except, I think, 2 or 3 times, and the word butt or other versions of that maybe 0. If you watch TV now 2-3 hours, I think it's 33 times, and the word versions of butt and other things, it's like numerable times. Like they talk about it. So I'm not sure how much fast forwarding you're going to do. I mean, you're going to feed the TV and fast forward all the time. So, of course, if you know that the program is bad, please don't avoid it. Avoid it. But if you don't know and it happened, I think the best thing is to talk about it. I'm not sure your opinion. You may have, if you want to fast forward, as I said, I used to do it, but I'm not sure in retrospect if I was right or wrong. But I think what I should have been doing, and I didn't, is to talk about it. And I didn't do it all the times. But talk about that this is a boy kissing a boy, for example, and you are fast forwarding. That wasn't even when my kids were growing, but it's happening now in some movies. And you may talk about it then. My kids are under 7 years old, and we do not permit or watch any shows that have any kissing scenes. Is that the right thing to do at this age? I mean, it's the right thing if you can give them replacement, though. Don't just say no TV, period. Just make them see something else, because otherwise they will feel so different. So if you have enough shows, enough other ways to to watch as a family, that will be great. I hope you can, and I'll applaud you for this. But you cannot just remove without replacement. How do I discuss homosexuals with young children when they see them and ask questions? As I said, I think the best way is to tell them, God did not create us this way. Mom and dad are too important, each one on his own department, because each one bring to the home different than the other person. And if they are a bit young, but you can tell them, even science did not show that these people are actually, as they said, they can get treatment and become normal. Any other questions? Thank you very much.